Hi there. Is there a particular pattern going on with every individual in America that could possibly keep them in contempt to being mentally ill by a psychologist? And then, with between those disorders, do we decipher and do we tell the differences in between the different types of somebody who's just a cold, callous murderer who just is a murderer and he wants blood and he wants revenge and vengeance, even though everybody wants revenge or something in return for this miserable ass life that we've all been given. And by God, we deserve it to ourselves to rise up to any occasion that we possibly can, right? But is there even a difference in sociopaths, say ones that take people hostage and will use people as hostage for a situation, or somebody who's just simply trying to make a point and for whatever reason just blast people and kills them instead of having demands or wants or some kind of achievement? So now the difference is there. It is deliberate. It's very different. It's very surreal. But the one besides them taking their own life, is it really not more than a very cold and senseless thing in the first place? So we're talking about somebody with some kind of mental status, because everybody walking around in America has some type of mental health issue. So if they pass a new gun law for mentally ill people or something like that, good luck for anybody getting that unless you have some kind of way to have a clean bill of social health. Not ever been scrutinized or been in a situation where you've talked to any of these people, and it could come down to something as sudden or um, just really small, minute, bearing little, like less than what I'm talking about is going and seeing an actual psychologist and then having them giving you some kind of bill of health, and then that is somehow going to go into public knowledge. Is everybody? It's now is the time for it to be public knowledge for everybody's mental health issue, everything that the state says anyways that happen to anybody. Nobody can even defend themselves whenever it comes to having a record or FBI problem with the FBI or anything else like that. You can't even defend yourself whenever it comes to it, and the government will inject you with the sleeping agent. They'll take you off and whisk you off somewhere, and you wake up in a totally different place, not even knowing what's going on. Can people possibly be drugged? So what they say, some might say, try to use that as an excuse. The dirty little scoundrel would try to say somebody actually drugged them, and that's the reason why they went off the loony bin and they're crazy. I don't understand why so many mental ill issues are plaguing and affecting America today. It's become wide enough to where now I can see the connection bearing on how they're going to be able to take everybody's guns from them because everybody has a mental disorder. And thanks to the government, their socialist ways and means in their programs, also, it could not have been done without psychologists. Mark my words, I think I'm going to go back and become a psychologist. If they don't totally kick me in the face this time, when I'm down, when I said I'm dyslexic, I have severe learning disabilities. Is that a mental illness now too? So that affects the way I would operate or handle a firearm. To come down to it, I can't handle a firearm because I'm dyslexic, right? It's mild dyslexia up to this point because I only catch myself doing the things that are screwy a little bit here and there. Every day, maybe I see it, but it's not a big, wide problem that just has me smacking my head over it. I get over it. It's a daily event occurrence, the dyslexia thing, but it's not making me bang my head about it. I triumphantly went through that, and jump over the hurdle. Successfully went through the what you would say in like basic training, you go through this obstacle course. I went through the course and made it and came out alive. So I want to take a second and I want to look at in particular a list of psychological disorders and what the government here is going to deem us to be mentally ill people. So we have eating disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, I'm sure that says there. Tourette syndrome, post-traumatic stress. I told you that would be up there, didn't I? Attention deficit. I have attention deficit disorder, not hypertension disorder, just the attention deficit disorder, ADHD. Oh, so I guess it is that, because that's what they called it, ADHD. They didn't call it oh, they did, ADD. But it said ADD and ADHD. So just bear with me, you know, don't make me have to smack my own self, in the face because, I have, what do you say, you can only tell that there's, um, I got a little bit of a problem, but not too much. Okay, so dissociative disorders, a lot of these I don't even know. Seasonal something, bipolar disorder, major depression, what does that say? Borderline, I don't know. I really don't. What is that? Uh, so effective, and then they have autism spectrum disorder. And that's what they said that I had when I was a very young age. So it's a wide range, and I'm not I'm not the type of person that would I've had millions of chances and opportunities to do something like this too. I mean, really, if you wanted to, you could be evil, but there's but it takes a real villain, evil person that evidently he was completely antisocial, more antisocial than what I'm describing what I would like to be able to be, even though, like I said, I don't have that much of a problem in social uh, life usually. Um, but I definitely would take a pioneering chance and opportunity to jump off of the what do you say, society ship, so to speak, and jump off and tumble off. If I had, you don't want to jump off in the middle of the ocean. You might, if you faced terrorists on the open seas, or just jumping in the ocean and trying to survive out there until some help comes, wherever that may be. I'm talking about where you're floating along and you see land and you know a little bit about where it is. You're not clueless to what it is, but you can jump off. That right there, I swear to everybody that that's also a disorder. So if I were to be made to feel a certain way, I could come out and I can express myself to a counselor, and I could tell somebody about it. I could find a friend. Hopefully, they weren't a sociopath who really wanted to hurt me and had full intentions to throw me away if that's what it took to get their political agenda going, flowing, and maintaining continually, nonstop. I'm telling about these people about this for years, but but I'm the one with a mental disorder. I I really would like to say that I do appreciate the opportunity. Now I'm thinking about it, a chance to show just how um, not mental that a autistic person can actually be. They can call me an enemy or whatever they want for exposing them and showing them that everybody in the United States has more to worry about than they originally thought they had to worry about before. And I guarantee you that every person, I think I'm going to make my point, that every person has got some kind of disorder. They've talked to somebody, a cop, they've talked to a counselor, they've talked to a counselor at their school. People at the school now are going to be all involved with people. And what you really want to do is you want to make people feel good about themselves. So, however, you can make people persons, these teachers and these counselors and these other people, what a lot of them are doing is for whatever to justify what they've gone to do, they'll throw people under the bus and they'll label them instead of being able to help them out and correct the problem and move away from the labeling. So people will come out and they will do their horrible, terrible things regardless. So I just wanted to do this kind of quickly here, roughly here, just to show all of the different disorders that, with the help of the American Psychological Association, psychologists, professors, and other people with certain things in mind and political, they're the type of people that won't necessarily tell you who they vote for, but they're doctors. They're doctors and they're psychologists and they are teachers. So who's to say they can't even just jot stuff down about each and every person? Now I think it would be helpful though if you had honest people doing it. And when I took that psychology class course, I personally thought the instructor back then, it was back like I said in 2000 at Umpqua, was Jan Woodcock, a lady named Jan Woodcock. And I thought Jane, in my personal opinion, still of her now, is that she's a very professional, very thorough person. And I don't know what all her intentions are, but she made people feel good about themselves. You would walk away from a person like that if you were benefited completely with 100% helpful atmosphere like the one that I believe that Mrs. Jan Woodcock displayed then as a psychologist at Umpqua Community College, that you were getting the best of the best. That's just my opinion. That reaffirms, now that I think about that, that reaffirms the way that I feel about Umpqua, and that when you would think maybe like some people might not be there for you, like they really do try, and I really do believe they're professional and they are there to help people. I really do. Along with like Barb Stoner, um, other people like Mike Olson, counselor from the counseling office there. Very genuine people. However, they are from their position, as being, we're all different. I believe that those are some of the most genuine people that I had ever met, and I was only used to being around quite genuine people, being a military brat. So I do appreciate that they were like that. That was at most helpful. That really helped me get through a hard time, was having those people being that helpful. I wasn't very successful with Jan in her class because I didn't ever really feel that I was a psychology type of person. I just didn't think that that particular environment was for me. Um, Even though I did feel welcome and I did welcomed, I felt good in that atmosphere in Jan's class. So, like anywhere else where they made me feel good about myself, even appreciate that aspect, I just didn't. I felt I lacked the intelligence. I lacked the ability to concentrate or focus for whatever the reason was. I wasn't there. I was like beside myself. I was beside myself. Now, is being beside yourself a disorder? I believe it is. I believe everything is. And then now everybody's convinced that they need to go see a psychologist. And now, if you listen to my video, now I'm going to be having people accuse me of trying to talk people out of going to see a counselor. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm not I'm not saying that they're not helpful. I'm not saying that some aren't very professional and are very humane people and aren't trying their best to help people out. Coming from that background or that career that they decided to be in, I think that there is good and bad and everything out there. So maybe that is like even the worst out there has to have some good in it, and even some of the best out there is gonna have a bit of bad in it. There's just there's no way that you can um, really confront that or change that aspect, and it's that's really what we're trying to stay away from. Is we're trying to stay away from socialistic, communistic type of brain control, brain altering. We want people to be able to hear hear a lot of logical things and make their own decisions, and be able to really process on their own. So not only that, I think Umpqua is unique in that because it makes the majority of the people that come out of there, whether they graduate or not, or what their situation is, they come out a better person, whether they're a usually either a Democrat or a Republican or independent or whatever they are. They come out a better person out of places like Umpqua. Maybe that's why it was a target. Maybe that's why. Because I think it's really supernatural type of like I think the devil made the guy do it. People will, of course, people will argue with that, and people will say, you know what, you're right. Other people that can't really argue that aspect that people don't truly have an angel that's either a devil angel on one shoulder or a heavenly angel with a halo on your other that's talking to us constantly, like in the TV shows, in the cartoon. So mental disorders. Let's see, disruptive impulse control and conduct disorders. Now that is actually a class C misdemeanor. Disorderly conduct. It is. Trust me. Just trust me on this one. Don't try to refrain from laughing too much because we really need to be serious here. But it is true. These are all going to come off. A lot of them are going to come off already because of the way that they're painting it. That these are the people that we have to check whenever they go in, if they're going to go in and buy a gun, because they're going to be very volatile with these things. So all of these are going to be also criminal acts. They're not going to put you in a mental health unit if you go and try and buy a gun and break the new law, if they make a new law because of your wide ranging of mental disorders, they're gonna put you in big boy jail if you go and try and buy a gun and you pass this crap that Obama's trying to pass. And I don't trust him not one bit. I believe that they'll go in your house, they will storm in that sucker, and they will confiscate your home, your business, and your guns were just something that they're trying to make a some kind of argument with you over that they had the right to go in and abuse their authority. I have to get it for a second, but take a second to think about what I'm saying for a minute, digest it a little bit, process it. Feeding and eating disorders. I'll be back in 1 second. Shh. All right, I'm back. This thing is really giving me an opportunity to vent a little bit here. And that's all in all. That's what a lot of this helps me do. It helps me um, be not so what do you say? Not so kind of isolated. That's kind of where um, I ended up here. I don't know the area very well because I grew up here only a little bit, momentary time in my life. Now back in Oregon, there I could tell you the whole entire place so good. I could tell you, I could draw a map of that college there that just had a major disaster happen there. They're at Umpqua Community College. I know the place so well that I could draw a map of it, basically, if I needed to. All right, I gotta put the screen. I'm not gonna put a screen back up. I'll just keep my face up here. So you have mental disorder, eating disorder. So now they got that in there. So now you have an eating disorder because of the way you eat. If you're fat, you can't handle a gun. Mood disorder. You know, I mean, like, if this guy, man, he makes me feel a certain way because I have to be cheery and like this all the time. I have to be on natural freaking enzyme type of medication or something that they would feed you, pharmaceuticals. I'll have to magically generate that in my brain so that I'm chemically balanced, so that whenever somebody does something to piss me off, I don't freaking yeah. I gotta be woo cheery. Oh, you said what about my mother? You silly, you know. But even the the president looks like a narcissist, and he looks like a very deranged person at times. I've seen him over and over again look like he needed to be put into um, a mental ward himself, into how do they call it now? To be politically correct, they don't call it mental health anymore. Hmm. Call it behavioral health. It's your behavioral. Okay, what is this? Neurocognitive disorders. Neurocognitive and this is about education, is where I looked this up. A list of psychological disorders, ladies and gentlemen. We're running through. We're at 7 of 14 of the disorders that they have up. This disease right here, this neurocognitive disorder, it's a puzzle with a elderly person in the puzzle with a piece missing coming out of it in the picture. That's the description. These psychological disorders are those that involve cognitive abilities such as memory, problem solving, and perception. Some anxiety disorders, mood disorders, and psychotic disorders are classified as cognitive disorders. Types of cognitive disorders include Alzheimer's disease, delirium, major neurocognitive disorder, and mild neurocognitive disorder. Now, can I make an argument here? Doesn't everybody else, whenever somebody in your family gets, I guess they probably don't. I was gonna say, then they get too old to drive, don't they take their keys away? I guess they don't, right? All right, you don't. Somebody who gets drunk, you don't let them take off in a car, but I guess they still get in a car and drive, right? So you can't change the way that that's gonna go. If a crazy person has a gun and the family knows about it, I do know that there has been people that I have talked to, in particular person, I mean, that they've said, I can't remember who the person was exactly. Maybe that might benefit them by me forgetting who they were somehow, so I don't mention who they are or something. But they said that they've actually taken a gun away from people. Have you seen that? Has that been on television too? Television shows where somebody with the gun, their family relative or something, took their gun from them. Um, so is it? Is there any way that maybe um, they, the family should be more involved in the It's the family's fault for not disarming these people, because their family could arm them. And then if somebody should have had a gun and they were killed, that's where we're at right now. So it leads me to believing more that it's it's baloney and junk to try and take their guns away from them. And here, this about education, right? This education on um, every disorder in the world is going to include every person into this. So everybody's going to be scrutinized and put into the spectrum. Unless you're able to go around like this. Oh, that didn't bother me. Not like that. Not like this. Like you're pooping. Is that a disorder? Don't let them see me. My disorder is poop. Delusional poop syndrome. All right, what is this? A neurodevelopmental disorder. All right, and autism is in there, so I don't think I really need to explain that. Do I? Should I, anyways? Even though I'm pretty sure up to this point, people who are not that clued in about autism, maybe a year ago or a week ago, maybe has a little bit more knowledge or understanding about it now than they did even maybe a couple days ago, or maybe it was a year ago, but people have learned a lot about the disorder a lot lately. So it says the developmental disorders, also referred to as childhood disorders, are those that are typically diagnosed during infancy, childhood, or what is that? Adolescence. I believe that says adolescence. I'm just thinking right now. I'm trying to read what it says, but Um, at my uh, mom's doctor, the guy who performed whatever he had to do when I was born, whatever the hell that's called. I'm helping babies born doctor. Wouldn't clip my tongue for over a year. So basically, like if you see somebody doing weird shit with their mouth or their tongue or anything like that, just think of that doctor doing that and him saying that it was necessary for a child that became autistic also after that to have to cry and be miserable every day until some other doctor finally clips his tongue, or that doctor did a year later or over a year later. So the baby was sitting there swallowing a bunch of air for some reason. They were doing that to me in Roseburg, Oregon. So I don't know why the Lord would ever um, let things go on like this. All I can say is I'm not at odds with making determinations about God one way or another, about the way that I solidified my views on believing in something out there that I do in Christianity, and that how Christians believe in Jesus Christ. I'm not going to change my opinion or come off of that. So it just the Lord works in mysterious ways, and I guarantee you, all these evil people, every one of them, can lap it up now. But I'm some of them might even be so determined to not admit they were guilty, to where they might honestly fool themselves into believing that what is happening to them is honestly shouldn't happen, that they shouldn't get their karma. And I'm talking about mean people doing things that are hostile or provoking other people, just being downright lame in your life. So everything's a disorder. And early on, they're going to make us all some kind of typical something they're going to classify us as. So, anyways, to finish this, it says these psychological disorders include intellectual disability or intellectual developmental disorder, formerly referred to as mental retardation, learning disabilities. So I just want to tell you what that did to me when I was a little kid. My my I was like buzzed. My whole thing, I was just a little kid, and everything around me was like bzzz, like buzz, without hearing the noise or anything. But everything that like people were trying to tell me stuff, and I just couldn't get it or understand. Everything was bzzz, for some reason, was just out of it, wasn't reachable. I couldn't grab it. So I am not highly disappointed, and I'm not gonna be all whatever crybaby about it, but it's definitely very real, and it does upset me. And it has really, it's made me hit like very upset, and I had to stop talking about it. So intellectual disabilities. All right, then it says communication disorders, autism, attention deficit, hyperactive disorder, hyperactivity. Boy, I guess I can relate with a lot of people. They had me on Ritalin for when I was older, got older age. So if you don't know what that is, that's speed for children, and adults take it too. Okay, so you have personality disorders. And again, this is a time when they're going to tell you they didn't know anything about these people. I don't know why. I don't know why we all jumped him and beat him down on the spot. He just looked at us differently and wrong or something. It's just it's abusive, and it's to its core cruel to people. Personality disorders create a maladaptive pattern of thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that can cause serious detriments to relationships and other life areas. Types of personality disorders include antisocial personality disorders, avoidant personality. I told you that they would have a list of what I'm saying, describing how I'm feeling right now. I said that I just want to get away from all you guys because you guys, I think, are crazy. Not that you guys are going shoot up people and kill people or anything deranged like that. I just think people are not cautious, they're careless, and they're crazy, and they will throw your ass right underneath of a bus for their own personal gain or whatever they're doing to benefit themselves, and there you are in the wrapped up in the axle because of other people. So I'm saying that, and now here we are right here, avoidant personality disorder. Because of the way you made me feel up to this point in time now, and I'm not having any crazy thoughts. I'm not being irrational about it at all. I built up an immunity to feeling that way purposely, on purpose, as a matter of fact, because of crap just like this. How you're going to label every single body and every single movement and everybody farts sideways, and that's a disorder. Sometimes whenever you really should ought to just let some shit go, we won't. We're all going to be held accountable, and we're all going to be held up here. The government's going to get the guns, and they're going to hold you up with them. So it says borderline personality disorder, dependent personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, obsessive compulsive personality disorder, paranoid personality disorder, schizoid personality disorder, schizotypical personality disorder. And then they have, because they expect you to be on some kind of drug or alcohol. So they'll put that in there right there. Rehab. You know, it's a given. It really is. Every single thing that I'm saying here, am I lying? So it says mental illness. You connect the dots. You help me connect the dots. We'll connect the dots together. We'll go through this whole thing together, and we will find a pattern or some kind of way solution, and we're going to connect our dots. Mental illness, mental disorders, eating disorders, anxiety, mental health. That's basically what they're going to say next, right? No? What are those then? These are okay. Those are the first ones, right? These are the first ones that we went through here. It only shows 5, not 10 of them. Okay, this is sleep, wake disorders. So now if you have a problem sleeping, you're you're in there. Somatic symptom and related disorders. Formerly referred to under the heading of somatoform disorders. Somatoform disorders. Remember, I'm not a psychologist or smart. I might be clever, but I'm not like smart like that. I'm borderline genius. Like right we're at the line of where genius starts. That's where I'm at. I'm not a high intelligent scholar like that. I'm break minimum to be where I just get it. I think that's why I'm right at borderline 130 two or whatever it is, or where you're right on the line of of genius. You just passed being able to be okay, genius. It's where you're genius, but they smack you in the head and have you move along. That's what kind of genius. I consider myself very sometimes it seems like I'm effective, but I feel like I'm a genuine person, but I don't feel like anybody else. Maybe I'm not like above anybody, or I'm not anything special. You know, I don't get that. I don't feel special. That makes any sense. So this category is now known as somatic symptom and related disorders. Somatic disorders are a class of psychological disorders that involves physical symptoms that do not have physical cause. These symptoms usually mimic real diseases or injuries. Disorders include in this category include somatic symptoms disorders, somatic illness, anxiety disorder. See, and I have some things like that that they would say is also a disorder in that, but I believe that really it's from me not taking better care of my body when I was younger. Like I didn't stretch enough. I didn't work out right. I took a lot of things for granted, including my health. And even though I would eat healthy food, um, really, anybody like me would also take advantage of fast food or pizza or anything like that too. So, like I said, there's other things that I see, and if I have a problem, I feel like I could solve them without honestly going to see a psychologist. Just make me very uncomfortable personally. That sometimes it'd be better if I just had somebody I could talk to. And here lately, where I'm at now, because I'm still here with my folks, my parents aren't gonna talk to me completely respectful all the time. And when something like this happens over there in Oregon at Umpqua, since it personally um, kind of hits us all a certain way because we all lived there for like 20 years, just about almost 10 years ago. We lived there in particular. How crazy is that? So, and we all went to that school. Um, I had a lot of involvement in that school and a lot of good memories. So we're not all, that's another scenario. Like this makes me kind of mad. You know what I mean? And whenever people bring politics into it, it makes me even more mad. So now I'm in a disorder. We get this disorder right here. It means that whenever you're faking yourself out to think that something's wrong with you. Okay, but this is what I did. I made a mistake. I decided I wasn't gonna listen to Obama's speeches ever because I think they're propaganda and I don't believe them. But for some reason, I fooled myself and told myself to give it a chance and just listen to what he has to say about Umpqua. As soon as he comes on there, of course they're gonna vilify Bill O'Reilly and Fox News and all these other people who are just saying, how ridiculous is that? He didn't come out and say, do I have to go back and listen to what George Bush would have ever said? You know, he said George Bush would basically say, we're going to go after this thing in a certain way where we're not going to victimize the victims more, and we're going to really confront the challenge of actually stopping people from being able to do that. However you would do that, it would be definitely, I think, at least upping the ante with pepper spray. Because I honestly don't believe in just giving people guns. I believe that everybody should ought to be required to go to a gun safety class in order to get their gun. They can buy it, but they have to take it right away and sign up to a gun class where they teach them everything there is to know about gun safety. That's my opinion. But anyway, so we know that. But anyways, I was fooled out and I listened to it, and it didn't make me mad. It made me understand how the odds are so against us the way that they are. Listening to Obama go out and basically use that situation as a political thing, and I would only hope that me or anybody would not ever do that, especially um, whenever it was something that meant that much more because I had been there before, and I didn't just pass through Roseburg. Um, I was actually born in Douglas Hospital, and they tore down the hospital. It was right next to where Roseburg High School is. Where Roseburg High School is in Roseburg, the old Douglas Hospital used to be the where the facility that's just past Roseburg High School, past the Denny's, off of the river there. Um, where everybody would go get their condoms or whatever else. That building that used to be the old Douglas Hospital, and I wasn't born there. I was born in the new Douglas Hospital that is no longer there, no longer a building. They destroyed it and wiped it out of there. So when they did that, I'm not mad at them, but I just think that that was kind of trying to disconnect um, people from that place a little bit by doing that. Stay, I gotta go. Stay. Stop it. Shh. Quiet. No, that's you. I'm just gonna finish these lists and I'm gonna go. I just wanted one thing left to show. Substance related and addictive disorder. What? Okay. See you later. Don't let the door split you where it hit you. Okay. Getting off the psychologist here. And that other thing, you guys can look at those lists yourself all you want. Maybe I should put a link on this video. But the last thing I'm going to sit here to try to get into people so they can get into your mind so you can think about this. Remember? Good. There it is. Crisis go to waste. Rand's rule. Never let a serious crisis go to waste. So remember, it's not never let a crisis go to waste, which I'm sure they'll take any opportunity, even small, or large. The liberals want to not ever let a serious crisis go to waste. So their moment in time, their moment of zen or whatever, comes from them thinking that as soon as a huge crisis comes, they have to get right in there and take advantage of it. And that's the liberal Democrat way, Democrat Party. I would only hope and think most Republicans in the Republican way would be the way that me and most humans, I think, would do it. We would go into a crisis and we'd try and solve it, wishing that there had not ever been a crisis in the first place. The other party, the Democrat Party, cannot wait for something big or a crisis to happen and watch it blow up in their face.